Now a man from the family of Levi married a Levite woman. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with asphalt and pitch. She placed the child in it and set it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. Then his sister stood at a distance in order to see what would happen to him. Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe at the Nile, while her servant girls walked among the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her slave girl, took it, opened it, and saw him, the child. And there he was, a little boy, crying. She felt sorry for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew boys." Then his sisters said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Should I go and call a Hebrew woman who is nursing to nurse the boy for you?" "Go," Pharaoh's daughter told her. So the girl went and called the boy's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay your wages." So the woman took the boy and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, because, she said, "I drew him out of the water."
Thank you, Jim. It was a dark time for the Israelites. They're flourishing, they're multiplying. God is growing his people. But every time something good happens, something bad happens. The Pharaoh comes in, the enemy comes in, and he wants to oppress them. He wants to stop the growth. He wants to oppress them and force hard labor on them. But God works through that. Despite the oppression, the people grow more, they multiply more, they continue to flourish and prosper. And so then the enemy steps up his game and says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the baby boys. All the male children are going to be put to death. As the baby is born, we're going to execute them. And Pharaoh recruits 2 of the midwives to help him in his heinous plot. But the midwives we saw last week feared God more than they feared Pharaoh, and so they obeyed God rather than Pharaoh, and God continues to use them and multiply his people. They grow, and they flourish, and they prosper. So Pharaoh steps up his game and says, okay, not just the midwives, but we're going to get everybody. If you see a Hebrew baby boy, you throw him into the Nile. Everyone's going to be involved in this. And it's a dark time. The people are in bondage. They're oppressed by their enemy, forced to do hard labor, and their children are being put to death. And at this time, you can imagine they're saying, where's God in this? Has God forgotten his promises? Has God forgotten his covenant? Has God forgotten his people? What's going on? But we're going to see throughout this that God has a plan. And we know how the story ends. We know how God redeems and rescues. And as we work our way through the text this morning, we just read through it. As we work our way through it, I want to pull out 5 observations about the God with a plan. How God uses and God works, and God, even through dark times, God has a plan. Let me pray, and then we'll jump into it. Heavenly Father, again, thank you that we can gather this morning here. Pray for your help now as we look into your word. This is a familiar story. This is a Sunday school story. We've heard this before. We know how it goes. And I pray, Lord, that you would open our eyes this morning. Help us to maybe see things that we haven't seen before, maybe see things in a fresh way. We invite you to be at work. Connect the dots for us this morning. Help us to see your work in a greater and powerful way this morning. We invite you to this. We trust you for it. In Jesus' name, amen. First observation I want to pull out is God uses ordinary people to accomplish his plans. God uses ordinary people, when we see that through the text, to accomplish his plans. Look at verse 1. Now a man from the family of Levi married a Levite woman. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. A man and a woman from the tribe of Levi. Nothing particularly spectacular about them. They're not from a family of nobility. They're not wealthy. They're not powerful. In fact, they're slaves. And we just have this man and this woman. Yet God is going to use them to bring about his plan of redemption. Not only is there nothing special about the family, but nothing special about the circumstances. A man and a woman have a baby. It's not a miraculous birth. He's not born of a virgin like Jesus was. There's no miraculous birth like with Isaac. Just a man and a woman. In fact, this is the third child they have. But we're going to see God uses them in an incredible way, despite there being ordinary people in ordinary circumstances. Made me think of 1 Corinthians. And we've read this before, you're very familiar with this, but brothers and sisters, consider your calling. Not many were wise from a human perspective, not many powerful, not many of noble birth. Instead, God has chosen what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. And God has chosen what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God has chosen what is insignificant and despised in the world, what is viewed as nothing, to bring to nothing what is viewed as something, so that no one may boast in his presence. You think that God's going to bring in this great Redeemer, this great leader, Moses, this revered man, but he comes very humble. He's from a slave family. He's not from the tribe of Judah, the kings. He's from the tribe of Levi. But we see who Moses was. He was exactly who he needed to be to accomplish what God had for him. Ordinary family, Levite family. There's thousands of Levites, but that was the tribe that Moses needed to be born from. Because this is the tribe of the priests. This is the tribe of the people who are mediating between God and man. Moses was exactly who he needed to be. We looked at Paul's writing here. Look at your calling. Consider your calling. We look around the room. Not a lot of tech billionaires in the room. Not a lot of powerful politicians in our room. Did you notice that? Not a lot of famous movie stars and actors and professional athletes. But God uses ordinary people to accomplish his plans and purposes. And when extraordinary people, these wealthy, the powerful, when they do extraordinary things, who gets the credit? The extraordinary people, because they're doing extraordinary things. But when ordinary people, a man and a woman, from the tribe of Levi, when ordinary people do extraordinary things, who gets the glory? Who gets the credit? The extraordinary God. God likes to use ordinary people. Maybe there's a tendency on our part to think, oh, man, if only I was wealthier, if I came from a better family, if I was more talented or more gifted, if I was more this or more that, if I was smarter or funnier or better looking, then I could accomplish something. Then God could do something through me. We see that's exactly who God uses. A man and a woman, and they have a baby. They're so unremarkable that we're not even told their names yet. It's not until chapter 6, Exodus 6, where we're going through a genealogy. This person, we can go back to them. Oh, that's what their names were. Not powerful, not significant people, but that's who God chooses to use. God uses ordinary people to accomplish his purposes. A second observation from the text. God uses people with faith to accomplish his plans. Not only ordinary people, but God uses people with faith to accomplish his plans. Let's look at the text. Do you see the faith here? When she, this is the mother, and her name is Jochebed, we're going to get to that later, but when she saw that he, that's her baby, was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a papyrus basket for him, coated it with asphalt and pitch, and she placed the child in it and set it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. Do you see the faith? Hebrews 11 tells us this was faith. Do you see the faith? Pharaoh says, you got to throw your baby into the Nile. And she says, I don't want to do that. She looks at her baby, and it's very interesting, the language here. Yeah. There you go. There you go. She saw that he was beautiful. Does anyone's English translation say something different? Maybe if you're using ESV or an ASV, do you have something different?
Fine child.
Fine child. We have beautiful here. The Hebrew word is literally, she saw he was good. Like if he was an ugly baby, she would have thrown it. What does that mean? She saw he was beautiful, so I'm going to protect my child. I'm going to hold on to him. I'm not going to throw him in the Nile. But I think there's something very cool about the language. It's the word tov, it's good. And she saw he was good. Does that ring any bells for you? And as it didn't hit me till later in the week, and I was like, oh, I get it. We see the same exact phrase in the Hebrew. It doesn't jump out in English, but in the Hebrew several times in Genesis chapter 1. God said, let there be light, and God saw it, and it was good. I made it, and it's good. Firmament. That God doesn't say that about the firmament. But life brings forth vegetation, and God saw it, and it was good. Oh, the plant life and the birds and the fish. God saw it, and it was good. The idea is God saying, I made this. This is mine. I take pleasure in it. It is beautiful, and it's good, and I enjoy it. This is mine. I made it. It's good. Same language here. It's not just he's a beautiful being. This is mine. I made him, and he's good. I love him. I'm going to care for him. And I don't care that Pharaoh's just throwing him in the Nile. I'm not doing it. This is my boy. And she loves him. She's going to hold on to him until she can't do it anymore. Oh man, she's trying and trying. Can you imagine? Shh. Now maybe the first couple months, babies sleep a lot. They nurse. She can keep them quiet. She can hide them. But only for so long. Eventually, people are going to find out. People are going to hear them. And what happens then? And she's doing all she can. She puts great effort into it, but she can't hide him anymore. Gets to the point, I can't do it. So does she despair and say, oh, it's inevitable. I'll just toss him in the Nile. It's going to happen eventually anyway. What does she do? I think we see her tremendous faith. She holds him as long as she can, says, you know what? At some point she says, God, I can't do it anymore, and I'm giving him to you. And she puts him in a papyrus basket. And again, this is something you miss as you read through the English. There are many Hebrew words, well, there are other Hebrew words will say for basket. This Hebrew word here, this is the only time in the Old Testament that this particular word is translated as basket. It's usually translated into another English word. And I'm going to say it's found in two places in the Old Testament. Here it's translated basket. In the other place, it's translated as a different English word. And in fact, that other place, it's used one other time, it's found 40-some times in that other place. And never once is it translated as basket. It's always translated into another English word. And I'm going to ask you, anyone want to take a guess what this word is? Shout it out. It's ark. It's found in Genesis chapter 6 through Genesis chapter 9 and 40-some times. Never basket. It's an ark. There's a flood coming. There's this judgment coming. There's this problem coming. And you better get in the ark. If you have faith, you believe God, you say, I can't do this. I'm not going to tread water for 40 days and 40 nights. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to jump in and trust God. And Noah gets in the basket, the ark, the box, and he's rescued and he's saved. And you get this idea here, and you read it in Hebrew, it jumps out at you more, but this is what Moses wants to get his readers to understand. This isn't mom just saying, okay, well, I can't do it. She said, I trust. Just like Noah climbed in and was rescued and saved, my little boy, God, I'm giving him to you. Because he's good. And I can't do it. I can't save him. I can't do it on my own. God, I'm giving him to you. And she puts her little boy in a little ark. Floats him on the Nile. You want him to go in the Nile? Here you go, Pharaoh. I think we see her faith in Hebrews 11 tells us she did this because of faith. But not only mom's faith, not only Jochebed's faith, but look at verse 4. His sister stood at a distance, and this we'll find out later is Miriam. His sister stood at a distance in order to see what would happen to him. Do you think she had faith? When you think something terrible is going to happen, do you watch? Any football fans? Time's running out. Your kicker lines up for a 59-yard field goal. Do you watch? Or do you go like this? If you're watching, say, oh, this is going to be great, that's faith. If you go, all right, just tell me tomorrow how it ends, that's not faith. When you want to watch, that's faith. Do you think Miriam thinks her brother's going to get eaten by a crocodile? If so, I don't think she's watching. Do you think she thinks we're going to put the basket, the little ark, in the water, and it's going to sink, fill up with water, and sink to the bottom, and her little brother's going to drown. Do you think she thinks that's going to happen? Because I think if she thought that was, she's not watching. I can't. I don't want to see this. But I think we see faith, where she goes, I can't wait to see what God's going to do. I got to see this. And they take her little brother, and they put him in the ark, and they put him in the Nile. And she's like, I gotta watch my dad. I can't wait to see what God's gonna. I don't know that she has an expectation. I don't know that she has a theory or a thought, but she wants to see what's gonna happen to him. She has faith. And I think the scriptures tell us faith is so important. God works through people with faith. Hebrews tells us again that without faith, it is impossible to please God. God uses ordinary people with faith who say, I can't do it on my own. This is too big. This is too much. I can't do it. But God, you can. You are greater. You're bigger than the problems. I put my trust, my hope, my confidence in you, and I'm going to watch what you're going to do. And God uses people with faith to accomplish his plans. Hebrews 11 tells us that it wasn't just Jochebed, the mother, who had faith, but the father had faith. Both parents had faith. She wasn't just building the ark by herself. He's there. Both parents are trusting God. God, this is on you. And maybe you're here today, and there's some things that, man, I can't change my kids. So God, I give them to you, and I'm trusting you. And I can't fix this problem at work. This is too big. God, I give this to you. I can't earn my way to you. I can't earn your favor, God. I am messed up and flawed, and so I put my hope, my confidence, my trust in you and what Christ has done. And God uses people with faith to accomplish his plans. And you look at the third observation. Not only does God use ordinary people, but God uses people who do ordinary things to accomplish his plans. You read through here and you see nobody did anything super extraordinary. There's no miracles. Everyone just does what they're supposed to do. Let's look at the text. Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe at the Nile, while her servant girls walked along the riverbank. So she goes to the Nile, she goes to bathe, her servants are surrounding her, and she sees a basket among the reeds. She sends her slave girl to take it, they open it, they see the child and stuff. And there he was, a little boy crying, and here's what she does. She feels sorry for him and says, this is one of the Hebrew boys. What are you supposed to do when you see a helpless baby? Do you go, well, we should kill him? No! She did exactly what a normal person would do. You see him and you're moved with compassion. She feels sorry and says, we gotta help! This is what you do. And you go through the story and you see all these characters. Yes, they show great boldness, great courage, remarkable people. But nobody does anything above and beyond and super extraordinary. Everyone kind of just does what you're supposed to do. Think back to last week when we talked about the midwives. They're bold, they're courageous, they rebel against the Pharaoh, the most powerful man in, if not their world, not the world, their world. He's powerful and he tells them what to do and they say, nah, we're going to do something else. They midwives. But again, you look at the text, what did the midwives do? It says they let the boys live. They didn't say, kill us instead of them. They just said, we're going to let the boys live. We're not going to. And I'll ask you, what are midwives supposed to do? They care for babies. They care for them. They just did what they were supposed to do. And we go, that was amazing. Because not everyone does that. They did what midwives do. We see Jochebed here, her amazing faith. She hides the baby. She cares for the baby. She puts the baby in the basket in the Nile. What are moms supposed to do? Yeah, she was bold and she was courageous and she had faith, but moms protect their children. They care for their babies, and she just did what moms do. Maybe not every mother did that, not every mother does that, but she just did what she was supposed to do. You think of Miriam. Man, what this courageous young girl, her thinking on the spot, her wisdom and all of that. What did Miriam do? I said, what are big sisters supposed to do? What are older siblings supposed to do? Look out for their little siblings? Hannah, is that right? Is this true? They're on their own, okay. If he was beautiful, then they'd know. You look out for them. That's what you do. You take care of them. You watch them. Nobody did anything. She didn't say, kill me instead. No one, great sacrifice, no miracles, nothing supernatural. Just everybody, moms behave like moms. The older sibling behaves like an older sibling. The midwives behave like midwives. Everybody does what they're supposed to do, and God works through it. You think of it the life of the church. Sometimes we think we have to do so much, and how can God, I have to do above and beyond, I have to put great. Just do what you're supposed to do. If everyone does what they're supposed to do, God uses it. He gets the glory, he gets the credit, he empowers. So we just do what we are supposed to do. Let God bless. If God's giving you the gift to teach, teach. I don't have to put this pressure on me. I must preach the greatest sermon that's ever been preached in the history of sermon preaching. I can't do that. But I can just get up and do it and let God do what he does. And if God's giving you the gift to serve, just serve. Greet, sing, worship, give. Just do what God has called you to do. Let him work through it. God uses ordinary people who do ordinary things to accomplish his plans. We speak up, we testify, we go to work, we do what we do, and let God use it. Relatedness, fourth observation from the text. God uses unexpected people to accomplish his plans. We just went through this list of heroes from the chapter, these people that God used who did ordinary things, but God used it and blessed it and worked through it to accomplish his plans. Do you notice anything all these people have in common? We go back to last week, we have the midwives. We have Moses' mother, Moses' sister, even the slaves, Pharaoh's daughter. What do they all have in common? God, you can say it. You got it? They're women! This list of heroes, they're all women. Do you think that's a coincidence? I want you to think back to last week. We asked, why did Pharaoh want to kill the baby boys? Why does he say, hey, if it's a little daughter, let her live, but if it's a baby boy, put him to death? Why did Pharaoh do that?
Didn't want soldiers.
We said our theory is that he doesn't want an army. We want to oppress them, we want to have slaves, we want to rule over them, we want them to do our dirty work, we want them to serve us. But we certainly don't want them to rise up and fight against us. And so what we want you to do is let the little girls live and kill the little baby boys. Because little baby boys grow up to be men. And men with no wives to marry are going to become angry men. And they're going to form an army. They're going to come against us, and they're going to be a threat to our power. And so the enemy says, we got to get rid of the men. The men are dangerous. Their God could use those men. He could become a leader, a redeemer, a ruler. We don't want that. Get rid of men and keep the girls. The expectation is that it's going to be the men who are going to be thwarting Pharaoh's plans. And I love this. I think this is not coincidence. This is not just, but this is the message here. This is key. But God is using exactly who Pharaoh didn't expect him to use. The midwives, these older ladies, they're not a threat. And then the midwives fear God, and they rebel against Pharaoh, and they're thwarting his plans. How many parents did Moses have? How many parents did Moses have? Yeah, we read there was a Levite man and a Levite woman. And the expectation is it's going to be the man who's going to step up and rescue and save. The man is going to be bold and brave and courageous and save the day. God's going to use the man. But who does it mention? It was mom. Now, Hebrews 11 tells us again, it was both parents. Both of them showed great faith. Both of them believed God. Both of them had boldness and courage. But Moses is pointing out specifically, it was the mom. How many siblings did Moses have? At least two. We have Miriam and Aaron. Now, Aaron was probably only 3 at the time, but who's the one watching? Who's the one looking out? Who's the one taking care? It's the sister. God is using the woman, the little girl. He's using the older women. He's using the mom. He's using the big sister. We have Pharaoh's daughter. Man, you would not expect Pharaoh's daughter to be used of God to rescue. Pharaoh's the one who's coming in and saying, kill the baby. They're the threat. And who's the one that God uses? Not one of the slave girls. Not one of Pharaoh's sons. Not one of the Egyptian farmers in the area. But he uses Pharaoh's own daughter in his home, in the palace, to say, I feel sorry for him. This is my little Hebrew boys. Let's adopt him, let's rescue him, let's care for him. God uses the unexpected people. He uses the ordinary people who do ordinary things. People of faith and people you wouldn't expect. And God gets the glory. Pharaoh didn't expect it. Last observation for you. God's plans are greater than we can imagine. God's plans are greater than we can imagine. When Jochebed takes her beautiful son and puts him in the ark and puts him in the Nile and says, God, I can't protect him anymore. I can't do this. I'm giving him up to you by faith. I'm handing him over to you. You do your thing. What do you think she thought the best possible outcome could be? What do you think? Do you think she thought about it, so I'm just going to toss him in and see what happens? Do you think she thought about it, played through scenarios in her mind? As a parent, what do you think? What's the best possible thing that could happen? Maybe he's protected for a while. Maybe we'll sneak down every night and nurse him if he survives. Maybe if he could just hang out long enough, hiding among the reeds and nobody finds him, maybe Pharaoh will die. Maybe Pharaoh will be hit by a chariot, the new Pharaoh will come in and say, we're changing the policy. If we could just hang out long enough, something might change. Maybe God will come to Pharaoh in a dream, just like with the days of Joseph. Maybe God will scare Pharaoh and he'll change his mind and change the policy. If we could just hang out a little bit longer, maybe the ark will float down the Nile and some kind Egyptian peasant may adopt him and he'll be spared and not have to live a life of hard labor and bitterness under the oppression of the Egyptians. Maybe that's the best case scenario that she had in mind. I don't know what it was. But she's just saying, God, I'm handing him over to you. And here's what happens. His sister, the ark floats down, and the Pharaoh's daughter finds the ark. And she doesn't say, let's kill the little baby. She sees him and she feels sorry. She's moved with compassion. She wants to care for him. And sister, Miriam, sees him. Sees all this happening. Sees it unfolding. And she says to Pharaoh's daughter, should I go and call the Hebrew woman who is nursing to nurse this boy for you? This random baby here, he needs somebody to care for him. You're not going to be able to nurse him. Would you like me to go find someone for you? I'll take time out of my busy day to go find a random Hebrew woman to help you. Would you like me to do that favor for you? And Pharaoh's daughter says, yeah, go and do that. Well, who should you get? So Miriam goes, and she goes and gets her mother and brings her. Pharaoh's daughter says to her, take this child, this beautiful baby, this random baby we found floating in the water. You take him, you nurse him, you care for him. You don't have to do it in secret because I give it my authority, I give it my okay. You nurse him, you care for him, you hold him at night, you rock him to bed, you change it, you do all that because I don't want to get my hands dirty. You care for him and do all those motherly things for this little baby. And I'll pay your wages. You let me know how much formula costs and diapers and all that. You let me know, send me the bill, and we will pay that for you. coming out of Pharaoh's palace budget. We got that covered. Do you think Jochebed saw that one coming? And all the scenarios she's playing through her mind, maybe this, maybe that, maybe... I don't think she said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put him in here, he's going to float down, and Pharaoh's daughter is going to find him. And she's going to be moved with compassion and say, I want to adopt this child, but I can't take care of him, so I'm going to go find his own mother to mother him, and I'll pay her. That's what we'll do. Perfect plan. She didn't have it planned out, but God did. God's plans were so much greater. So here's what happens. As Moses grows and he gets older, now Mom, Jochebed, takes him and gives him to Pharaoh's daughter to be raised in the palace. What happens if Pharaoh stays in the Hebrew village with the Hebrews? What does his life look like? Bondage, forced labor, slavery, oppression. Instead, where does he get raised? Where does he get to live? In the palace. Do you think Miriam and Jochebed saw that one coming? He's going to be raised in the palace. He's not going to be doing forced labor like all the other Hebrew boys who may have survived. He's going to be educated. He's going to live a life of luxury and in the palace. God's plans were so much greater than their plans. And this is God's plan all along to bring about redemption and to rescue his people. They didn't see that coming. They're living in dark times. Things are difficult. There's oppression, there's problems, there's evil. And everyone will look, oh man, it is dark. God, where are you? What's the plan? You see, God had a plan all along. He's using ordinary people of faith to do ordinary things. God's got it all figured out. People you wouldn't expect. Moving and putting the pieces where they need to be. And all together, God brings out his plan of redemption. And as you look at the story of Moses, do you see the bigger picture? Oh, it's not just about Moses. Do you see the big picture? Who's Moses pointing to? I'll just put this out here. There's this person who has these two families, these two natures, where he's in the palace, yet he's also part of slave people, people in bondage and people who are oppressed. And when the time is right, he's going to leave his place of glory and honor and power and lay that aside, empty himself, and take on the form of a servant. Mind you, anybody? And live a life of a servant and identify with the slaves so that he can be used of God to redeem the slaves. Mind you, anybody? Who's the story of Moses pointing this to? Much greater Redeemer. God had a much bigger and greater plan than all this.